Hello everyone, welcome to Redmen TV for some daily news. It is Tuesday. How is it only Tuesday? We're on the countdown to Kiev. Everything's kicking off, mainly internally. I'm really struggling with this at the moment, so this should occupy my mind and hopefully your time for a few minutes while we talk through some Liverpool news, some transfer rumours and some stuff, again, building up to a little game this weekend. It's the Champions League final and Liverpool are in it. Good stuff. And then I'm going to get to your comments on anything we've discussed as well, so stay tuned for all that later on. Before we get into the transfer rumour stuff, I want to get into a little bit that we covered yesterday. So we were at the Liverpool Media Day, which was boss. We got a little chance to sit down with Trent Alexander-Arnold. Really, really good lad, really, really mature, speaks fantastically well. A little quote here we've taken from it over on our Twitter page right now. Asked about the game itself and about the threat he faces in Marcelo and Cristiano Ronaldo, and he was quick to downplay the Ronaldo stuff. He talked a lot about Marcelo, and he said a lot of people forget about Marcelo. He's almost a winger. He possesses the attributes of a winger, and if he was, he'd be one of the best in the world. To do it from fullback is unbelievable. And it's when he said, I mean, look, people aren't forgetting about Marcelo to put the context of that. I think a lot of people think he's going to be going up against Cristiano Ronaldo or Gareth Bale. And he's saying the way that Real Madrid line up, Marcelo is going to be pushing very, very high, and he's the guy who's probably going to be his prime focus. Really interesting stuff. Chris has done a statistical and tactical breakdown. Both of those videos coming, he's done one with Statman Dave to look at how Real Madrid are likely to line up. So, and it's basically true. So if you want to see that full interview, you can do it over on the website right now. It's about 7 minutes long. We've also got some quick chats with Andy Robertson and Gini Wijnaldum from the Player Awards last week as well. But yeah, so much amazing stuff going on there. I say that full interview with Trent. He talks about the coach greetings. He talks about Marcelo. He talks about what he would do if he gets given the opportunity to take a free kick in the Champions League final. What it's like to be a fan on the pitch, etc, etc. Absolutely brilliant stuff. And there's some great stuff on there again already. We've done the alternative commentaries, Liverpool versus Roma in 1984, some great articles about Emre Can, etc, etc. A View to Kiev, Istanbul 2005, phenomenal stuff. Chris done a great podcast with Kevin George, and there's the Youth Review podcast as well with Andy Kelly and Ben Kelly, the Kellys, as it were, looking at all the players that Liverpool have had out on loan and how they've performed. Amazing stuff. Get over there, get signed up. It's completely free for a month. You might as well try it for this month, because does it get any better than Liverpool in the European Cup? Ask me again next year when we're on the route to a 19th league title, but right here, right now, this is as good as it gets. Get involved. Jordan Henderson, it's just come out today that the captain's armband for England at the World Cup will go to Harry Kane. Yeah, well, Gareth Southgate, I was just starting to warm up to England and Gareth Southgate, and he goes and makes a stupid decision like that. I put out on my Twitter there, I mean, from my perspective, the only good thing I can see from this regard is that at least when it inevitably goes completely tits up for England, Harry Kane will be the one who bears all the brunt of it. Hopefully there shortly before moving to Real Madrid this summer, which is actually something that I heard today, which would be lovely. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. Should Jordan Henderson have been given the England captaincy? I mean, he's Liverpool's captain. He's on the verge of going to a Champions League final as captain. But yeah, obviously the Echo have got this here saying he's, you know, obviously look, he could be about to follow in the footsteps of some of the greatest people ever to play the game, and yet Harry Kane, who isn't captain of his own club, is going to captain England. Weird, bit weird. Okay, we've got another bit of just general news, which I'm going to quickly reorder here. Anfield edition. I think we know these guys. I apologise if there's a lot of Twitter accounts that have got Anfield and another word in them. They put a report out saying that Daniel Sturridge just fell out with Jurgen Klopp because he wasn't offered a chance to come to the Champions League final or something. It's interesting because we saw Harry Wilson at the Player Awards, having come back from his loan spell at Hull. I didn't see that. He might have been there. I didn't see Daniel Sturridge. If he was there and you saw him, let me know in the comments. But it's interesting that he is a Liverpool player. His loan's ended. He could be there with the squad if he's fit and he's available. He could be there training. I know I don't think he'd be available to play in it, but it's interesting. But anyway, there's a great point here made by GiveMeSport.com. Says, anyone ever been relegated and won the Champions League in the same season? They say we very much doubt it. That doesn't sound like a fact to me. If anyone can fact check this for me, has anyone ever been relegated from the Premier League and won the Champions League? Let us know. But Anfield Edition reported that they broke their relationship had broken down. Daniel Sturridge has taken to Twitter to reply to this, which is quite unusual. He says, spoke to the boss and Michael Edwards over the couple of days and wished them good luck for the final. Wish my teammates good luck after the semis and this week. I'll never walk alone. Hashtag red or dead. Now, Daniel Sturridge isn't the kind of person who's going to come out on Twitter and go, it's a disgrace, because he's a nice fella. Ultimately, he's a really good guy, really hard worker, loves football, and you know what, he loves Liverpool as well, and it's a shame that things haven't quite worked out for him, mainly because of form and fitness and maybe just style of play, probably more than anything else. So yeah, it is a shame, and you know, hopefully if Liverpool do go all the way, we can look back and recognise the contribution that Sturridge had, you know, in getting us to the final along the way. It did play a part in the group stages, of course. Probably get a more positive reaction than Phil Coutinho will get, let's just say that, and rightly so. But yeah, fair play to him for coming out and clearing that up. There's no need for disharmony or kickoffs. I see no sense in. Look, if he wanted to come out and do that, that would have been his prerogative. We've seen Jack Wilshere stirring things up about the England squad and what have you, but Liverpool about to be in the European Cup final. What's the point in talking about negativity? Let's not. So we're going to move on then. And if you want to talk about negativity, you're probably going to do it off the back of this. Miguel Delaney from The Independent claims that Liverpool want a goalkeeper, another attacker, but centre-half is our priority position this summer. And he claims that Liverpool have identified, well, there's adverts all over here. Let's go this quickly. I've identified Jamal Lascelles and James Tarkowski. Who both fit what they want, and the club will try to buy one of them. 25-year-old Tarkowski is another player who's excelled in Dyche's system, while 24-year-old Lascelles thrived at Newcastle as they comfortably maintain their Premier League status. Obviously, Liverpool, you would imagine, for either them are looking more for a partner for Van Dijk than a Van Dijk replacement, because let's be honest, I don't think either of them are remotely on the level of Virgil van Dijk, particularly as the type of centre-half that he is. But yeah, it's a very interesting one. I think immediately there's going to be a little sense of like, well, I want a more exotic name, I want a more expensive name, I want someone that I've watched from afar. No one gets that excited when you buy lads from Newcastle or Burnley, let's be honest, or Stoke in the case of Butland. But I think we've seen, and I think Jürgen Klopp made a great point at the press conference in the question that I got to ask him, which was amazing, by the way. But at this point in time, no one's looking for the missing piece to make this Liverpool team good. This Liverpool team is good, and when you look why that is, it's because we've bought well and we've coached well, and we've got a great system of play as well, and the right mentality. So I'm not asked if Jürgen Klopp wants to buy youngish but reasonably aged centre-halves from this country and goalkeepers, fine, let him do it, because I think his track record proves enough at this point that he basically knows more than we do about these kind of things. And aside to this, and a final point, is that Brexit's coming. It's coming. It's stupid, but it's coming. And what that means for work permits and the players that you can actually have in your team could have an absolutely devastating effect on the top teams in the Premier League. Don't be shocked in a year's time when Man City and Chelsea are bricking it and frantically trying to buy as many English lads as possible to pad out their squad, because you won't be able to have as many foreign players available. The younger viewers who won't remember this, but there was a time when you could only have 4 foreigners in your team. And this is like the 90s. This isn't like the 70s and 80s. It's not too long ago. And that was like actually just non-homegrown players. And then it expanded so you could have 3. You could only have 3, I think it was, non-EU players. And that might even be the rule anymore, I don't know. But the point is that it was a very difficult thing to do to balance a squad. And look, if Liverpool are setting themselves up with players that he believes are good, absolutely bonza. Okay, let's get to some of your comments then. Thank you very much for leaving them so far. We'll delve in. Tom is going to be miking himself up as we speak and throwing himself headfirst into comments.
So just talking about the England captaincy first, Matt Majkan, I think, says Henderson will be captain regardless of some meaningless like strip on his arm.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. Jordan Henderson will play how Jordan Henderson plays. He's not going to be less vocal or less vociferous in his play because he doesn't have an armband on. I think we saw this with Jamie Carragher at the time at Liverpool. You know, Gerrard was nominally the captain, but Jamie Carragher was the fella who did all the shouting and what have you. So, no, and let's be honest, it's not like Harry Kane can do the shouting because, let's face it, his tongue is so huge, he can basically barely say his own name without spitting over the 5 people in front of him. So, yeah, it's going to be a very interesting one.
Charlie Heat says about the defenders, I'm unsure of both. Many centre-backs look good in defensive teams, so we need to be very careful.
This is true, but I think we're looking for a defensive centre-half. I think it's fair to say that you can coach a little bit these things, but I think what we've seen is that Joel Matip is a good footballer and he's a good defender, but he's not got the aggressive side that Liverpool need. Dejan Lovren has got that, but when he gets ideas above his station sometimes, and I think he loses his way, I think Liverpool need a guy who lives to... Sorry, Chris has gone pay Jack News, turn the camera around, everyone's missed it. I think Liverpool needed a guy who will defend for his life, and I think if you've learned under Rafa Benitez and under Sean Dyche to a certain extent, I think that kind of makes sense. Daniel Turner says Johnny Evans on the cheap. No, not Johnny Evans. Let's laugh when he ends up at Arsenal and he's crap. That's as far as I can say. Vickers J, Sergei Milinkovic-Savic, we've been linked with him a lot in the last year, but not so much recently. I would be very shocked if that transfer re-emerged in the coming weeks. But it's interesting, it's mentioned by Miguel Delaney, that centre-half, goalkeeper and forward, in addition to Naby Keita, is that enough? Maybe it is. Maybe one more attacking player for shits and giggles. One more, Tom.
Well, a couple of people have been saying put Gomez in, and Boring James Milner 7 says Masterson needs to have a shot, in my opinion, before we buy centre-back.
Yeah, I mean that's a reasonable point. My feeling is that if Liverpool are looking to buy another centre-half, which is the strong feeling, it's because there's no one there ready to step up. And Masterson's of that age where Klopp's not afraid to put like 18, 19-year-old lads in his senior team. He built his Dortmund team around kids at the back. And if they're not ready to play, then it means they're either never going to be ready to play, or he's going to go for something, a stopgap in the meantime. And at 24 and 25, that's senior defenders he's buying there. I would suspect that it means that one of Matip or Lovren will be on the way out this summer. I think Gomez will get his chance, and I think that's absolutely fine. I think if Klavan's maybe meant to be signing a contract extension, I just think we're protecting the squad for the future and for the present, and it looks a very sensible approach as far as I'm concerned. But there you go. Listen, if you cannot wait for the Champions League final, you need. I don't know how I'm filling my day at the moment. If you need stuff to occupy your brain, do not worry. We've got the Trent interview on the website. We've got all those alternative commentaries. Guillem Balaguer interview, the Spanish expert. Chris sat down with him, had a glass of wine and some tapas in a fascinating interview. The full-length thing's on the website. There's a bit going up on the YouTube channel shortly. And we're recording the podcast this afternoon as well. It's going to be about 45 minutes to an hour. We have got you covered. Get subscribed on the YouTube channel. Get subscribed to the redmentv.com. Fulfill your life. Fill your life with good Liverpool stuff on the road to Kiev. See you soon. Ta-ra.